Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry about that, guys. That was technical difficulties. Can everyone hear me all right? Yeah? Okay, cool. Awesome. Sorry about that. Andy, Lesley, are you guys around? Andy, Lesley, if you guys are around, please unmute yourself. Andy, Lesley, let me call him.
I see Andy on. He's probably trying to get oriented.
See, there he is. Hey, there you guys are. Man, sorry, we had our first technical difficulties.
Your first one?
Yeah, this was the first one that was going crazy. So I apologize about that. But thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. How's everyone doing? Family holding up all right? Everybody good?
Yeah, we're good.
We are.
We're learning pre-cursive at home.
Awesome, awesome. That's for you, right, Andy?
And you know what this is for? This is the new tool because our dogs start barking every time we're on a Zoom.
Yeah.
And so we squirt them with water and make
There you go. There you go. Awesome. So Andy and Lesley, thank you so much for being here. We typically have about 75 or 100 people that join these Zoom calls. Right now, I think we're up to 58. So appreciate you guys pouring into us. We know how much, as far as me personally and a lot of us, how much we respect you guys and love you guys, and we thank you guys for being here. So thanks so much. So a little bit about you guys, and you guys can obviously chime in. You run a massive real estate business, right? You guys are national trainers, right? So you guys are out there training a ton of people. You train people on team growth and marketing and database management, right? You also have 3 top producing market centers in Atlanta that are very profitable, and you guys run and do a very good job at that. You have great coaches in your life. One of them being Gary Keller, right? So you're in Gary Keller's mastermind. So your accolades are great, and we appreciate you guys being here. So what's pretty awesome is that your team typically runs about, is selling around 300 homes or so, right? And you guys do about 120 million. But the coolest part about this right now is that in the month of March, given everything that we have going on, you guys have had 33 deals this month, and you've had 24 since the COVID-19 pandemic. Is that correct?
bound number 34 last night.
Whoa!
So we rounded out the month with 34 units under contract. So that's pretty awesome.
I love for that thumbs up for all you people out there that are most of the people, Andy and Lesley, are from Chicago here. So bound, right? You guys use the word bound, which I love, but so that means you put it under contract, correct?
Escrow.
All right, awesome, cool. So guys, let's first and foremost discuss your why, right? Let's talk about your mindset. We know that you guys are very system oriented. You guys have great strategies, and we'll get there. But if you don't mind, let's discuss the why behind your business, and in the mindset that you guys basically put forth every day.
Yeah, so we struggled with the why for a long time. We were very entrepreneurial, and business came a little bit easier to us, and we were blessed in a lot of ways. And, I think once we started plateauing a little bit and we realized that this wasn't so much about me or Lesley, it was not about our personality, the why really started showing up. And, the why for the business is to create massive opportunities for others through real estate. And massive opportunities means a couple things. The first thing is it means massive opportunities for our clients. And right now, we can talk about this, but from a fiduciary standpoint, we have a responsibility to maximize opportunities for our clients, especially our sellers right now. So creating massive opportunities for our clients. The second would be creating massive opportunities for our agents. So this is our responsibility to keep things afloat and be prudent and make sure that the business does well so that we can continue to provide opportunities for other people. And then the third thing is creating massive opportunities for the charities we support. So even in this environment, and Lesley can talk more about this, what we're doing for charities around us, that's important, right? What does a massive opportunity look like for the charities that we support? So that's where it starts. That's the lens.
That's awesome. Can we dive into that for a second? So you guys, you could talk about massive opportunities first and foremost for your sellers, for your clients right now, right? In today's environment, how are you doing that? How did that pivot, and walk us through what you're doing right now as far as massive opportunities for your sellers?
So we've listed 13 homes in the last 14 days, and 12 are already under contract.
Okay.
And I don't know how the market is in Chicago. We just have such low inventory here. And what we've seen over the past few weeks is a lot of the sellers are actually withdrawing their listings.
Okay.
And so for us, we're looking at our listings on the market, especially the 12 out of 13 that have pended the past 2 weeks. And we're saying, okay, of those 12, they're going for 102% of list price. And every single one of those had multiple offers.
Wow.
So for sellers right now, they're looking on the news and they're really fear-based. And so it's our job to kind of tell the story of what's really going on in the market and what we're really seeing. And, a lot of them have concerns about people going in and out of their home, or am I going to have fewer buyers right now because people aren't coming to look? And so one thing that we've been doing is virtual open houses on every single listing that's gone live.
Okay.
And so I'm doing 2 tomorrow.
And Lesley doesn't normally do that.
Oh, normally that's not my thing at all. I've just jumped in to help. We also decided that our team was going to roll out Command this week because we thought that we just didn't have enough going on. So we were going to dump 9,000 people into Command this week and just go.
Okay.
And so I'm being pulled in a lot of different directions, which is awesome. But I've been doing virtual open houses, and one of our properties is under contract this week because of that link being shared to other agents. So what we're doing is we're actually reverse prospecting to other agents and saying, hey, in case your buyers aren't comfortable getting out and looking at real estate, here's the link to the property.
Okay, that's awesome. So you're pivoting virtually, right? And then, hey, wait, Jen, can you hear them better now? No, guys, can you turn your microphone up and speak a little bit closer to come a little closer, guys.
A little closer.
We're not going to be able to get close for a while, so might as well get close now, right?
The other thing that I would say, Joe, is don't just tell people everything's okay. Show people everything's okay. Really tell the story of what's going on in your business. And by the way, if it's not what you want in your business, I'm sure there's a story of somebody else within your market center or within your market that's having success. Mm-hmm. So, tell that story, borrow that story.
So Andy, Lesley, you guys are probably the nicest, most integrous people I know on the planet, right? And Tommy and Josh and all of us that know you guys really well would say that. And we mean that genuinely. How are you guys like walking that fine line of that being, hey, our business is blowing up, doing great right now with everything that's going on in the world. What's the fine line that you guys are walking there, and how are you guys approaching that?
It's about finding solutions for the clients. It's not about us. Like, it really, again, back to this idea of the fiduciary, there are motivated sellers out there that need to sell for whatever their reason. And let's face it, like, if somebody's going to put up with all this, they're going to be pretty motivated. Mm-hmm. And if somebody's going to be selling in the next 3-6 months, if we are heading into a shift, which I think everybody's kind of smelling the cooking on that now, if we are heading to that, the sellers are the ones that are, stand the most to lose. So that's where our focus has got to be. We've got to look at the pipeline over the last months and years that you've been developing. And we've got to take a hard look at the WHEN, the WHEN, for all these people to understand, like, hey, if you were planning to sell this year, you need to move that thing up. Like, we know what it's like right now. We don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow.
Right. Okay. So so you're living in the moment, right?
Yeah. And I think too, when we're lead generating, we're not going to change people's mind on how they feel about this. So someone just asked, I guess, about how are we telling the story? I think people are so curious about the real estate market. So when I'm calling people and lead generating, I'm not saying, who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Like, I am just checking on people. And that's always how I've done business. Like, it is just pure, like, staying in constant contact with our database and caring about them and checking on them. And the conversation always turns to, so how the real market?
Right.
Well, they immediately think that the market is horrible, right? So it's telling our story and what we're experiencing in the market. And it's also sharing with them data. I loved Keeping Current Matters. Do you guys get that? Anybody get
Yeah.
that in Chicago?
KPM. Yep. Yeah.
They put out a piece and it was basically how 2008 is going to be 10 times different than 2020. Like they're just not the same economic meltdowns. And they gave like 5 reasons it wasn't. So our team leaders were actually sharing that with us agents to make us feel better. And I'm like, gosh, why are we not sharing that with our database?
Mm-hmm.
So I put a PowerPoint together for our database. It was the
It was a
5
Zoom.
reasons. It was a Zoom that I recorded, and then we shared it with the database. The reason that 2020 is not going to be like 2008. And here are the 5 reasons. It's just to calm their fears. Because they don't know how low inventory is. They don't know that our mortgage has already been stringent with standards. Like they don't know all that.
So I was going to ask you, what was the reaction to that? And what was it that it calmed their fears?
I think it does for the ones I've talked to, absolutely. Because I mean, you can't tell people that you put 12 listings under contract in 14 days for 102% and them not be like kind of in awe over that. So I think it has. And I mean, not everybody in your database is going to watch an 8-minute video on the difference between 2020 and 2008.
Yeah.
Yet the ones who do are typically the ones that are really concerned about it.
We had a pretty fierce conversation with the one that didn't go under contract.
Yeah. And what did that conversation look like?
You told me, right? I mean, it's like, hey, I don't really know what to tell you, but 12 out of 13 went under contract in the last 14, and you're the only one that didn't. What do you think, right?
Right.
All your own conclusions out of that. Of course, we've just reduced the price on it, so hopefully it'll
Right.
come back.
So hopefully that works,
That's
right?
an intelligence question, I think.
Yeah. So as far as what the massive opportunities for your sellers, right? You guys have a strategy there, right? What other tools are you using to communicate with your sellers right now? I know you said you're going to dive into Command, which is the Keller Williams platform, right? That we all use. But outside of that, what you're using Zoom? What other tools are you using there?
We've always done a weekly update that I think is really important for sellers. And we've just been talking to our listing agents about really staying in constant contact with these sellers. So typically we put together this like really long email every Monday that watches for 3 indicators. It watches for number of showings they've had over the past week. It watches for offers, if any came in. And then what's the third? Oh, a number of days that they've been on the market. And so we basically do a red light, green light system with our sellers. And we say, if you've had 10 showings without an offer, then that's a red light. Like that's a problem. And we need to get on the phone and chat about it. If we've been on the market for 10 days and don't have an offer, we need to chat about it. What was my third?
If you have 10 showings without an offer, that's a problem. 10 days without a showing, that's a problem. And in this environment, if you're not under contract within 30 days, that's a problem.
So we're just
10:30. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we're really watching that weekly, yet we're also staying in more contact with them. So we're calling them more, the ones that are on the market, than we have in the past.
Okay.
That's
all right.
current.
So, hey, Lesley, do us a favor and talk up a little bit. There's still a couple people that are having trouble hearing you. So that would be awesome. And guys, as far as the chat room is concerned, this is awesome. You guys are engaging a ton. So I'm going to get to them as quickly as I can, just FYI, as you know. And Lesley and Andy, if you see a question come through on the chat room and you want to address it, just go right ahead. Okay. Yeah. All right. So you talked about massive opportunities for your sellers and how you kind of have pivoted and what you're doing there. What about massive opportunities for your team members and your agents? What does that look like? What does that look like pre-pandemic? And then what's it look like now?
Well, I think how we first even figured out that our whole mission in life was to create massive opportunities for others was because we were sitting in with our productivity coach back in 2012. Yeah, 2012. And she looked at us and she said, so what do you guys do when a sign call comes in? And I kind of laughed. And I was like, we pray they have an agent. And she said, say that again. And I'm like, yeah, we pray they have an agent. And she said, you can't be serious. And I said, yeah, we have no extra hours left in the day. We are maxed beyond belief, and we just pray they have an agent. And she said, well, I want you to imagine that every lead that you're just dropping on the ground could be an incredible life for someone else.
Okay.
And that's when I think everything shifted for us.
Yeah.
It was really a shift in, oh my, like Gary says, we're selfish if we don't let our businesses grow to the extent that they could. And at that moment, we were being selfish. Like we were thinking of these leads as just, it didn't really matter. And so we went and
We had enough.
We had enough. We have plenty we can't do anymore. And we went out that same year and hired our first buyer's agent. And she closed 44 units and made $250,000. And she was 26 years old.
Boom. That changes somebody's life right there, right?
And so she's still with us today. So I think our whole strategy for our team is this is not about us. Like this has so little to do with us. It's we wake up every morning, we generate leads. I mean, we want everyone on our team to have a life worth living. And,
Right.
And we feel responsible for that.
So
Go ahead, Andy.
I think part of it right now, that was pre-pandemic. Like right now, you know, it's focused on equipping them with what they need to survive for the next 120 days. Like, what does your virtual presentation look like? How often are you practicing it? Who's holding you accountable? You know,
Right.
For our agents right now, it's been so much about schedules because a lot of them have children at home, which is just so difficult. And they're homeschooling, right? And they're this balancing act. And so for our director of sales, she's been increasing accountability with them and conversations with them at least daily and really holding them accountable to the schedule and their contacts. So everybody, because I think right now they feel really good, but when we look out into our pipeline for May, it doesn't look quite as strong.
Right. So how are you guys? So, okay. So that's awesome, right? Our team today, you know, it talked about pipeline, right? And how basically it's been cut in half. You know, a lot of ours, you know, if we had 10 people in a pipeline, 5 people are saying, yeah, we're still going to do something, right? So how are you guys dealing with that? Are you doubling down on activities, or what's your strategy on this?
So I've got a plan. This is an 8-point plan that we've been rolling out through the market centers, but it applies for all of us in our business. This might help. So the first thing in this 8-point plan is the virtual presentation that we talked about, right? We've got to have it mastered, buttoned up, because when we come out of this, we're still going to be doing virtual presentations. So those who master that right now are going to take massive opportunity once we come out of this thing. Moving up business. So if we've got somebody that said, hey, I want to list in June, like, hey, let's rethink that and move that business up because we don't know what it's going to be like in June or May or whatever. Reducing listing prices. So everything that isn't selling right now, we know is overpriced because everything new that we list goes under contract quickly. So there should be major urgency right now on listing price reductions.
And Andy, let me pause you there.
Yeah.
Are you doing, you know, because I know we both have the same coach in Gene Rivers, right? And he's always talked about a percentage. Are you guys implementing a percentage on price reductions?
What we've always told our listing agent and what we're watching quarterly is that if we look at all the listings that have gone under contract after they take a price reduction, on average in Atlanta, it's taking 5% price reduction to move them. So that's actually a little bit higher in luxury. It's about 7% price reduction required in luxury. So our listing agent knows that, and he's sharing that content with the sellers.
It's really about price points though. So right now with everybody looking on the internet, it's like, how are people approved for loans? Up to what point? What's that hard cap? And how are they searching on the internet? So that's the way we price property. We want to be our prettiest and best at the next price point, right?
Got it. So I interrupted you, Andy. So reducing price was number 3. What's number 4?
Number 4, bulletproofing deals. This is straight from Shift. And the example I would use for this, if you have a seller that doesn't know where they're going to go, that's creating anxiety for them. Mm-hmm. So you need to have that conversation now so that you can bulletproof that. Because what happens when we see this is the seller gets anxious and then they throw the brakes on, right? They won't do any repairs, or they'll start bucking a little bit in the transaction. That wigs the buyer pulls the ripcord out of the deal. So it's really all about communication, and reassuring them, letting them know, like, if they're a seller, you're doing the right thing. It could be a slippery slope for the next 3, 6, 9 months. Selling right now makes the most sense. So if you have to give up a little bit of money, it's going to pale in comparison to what pain you might experience if you hold on to this property. Pain. And on the buy side, bulletproof in the transaction looks like, I don't know if y'all seen, but the lending environment has tightened up massively. The
QM sector completely went under.
The non-QM went under last week or week before last. Now we've got tighter guidelines for credit scores.
Jumbo loan rates are shrinking.
Yeah.
FHA may be next. Anything that's considered risky in the market right now is really, really tightening up.
Right.
So, a lot of your first-time home buyers, they require some of that stuff. Even second-time home buyers require some of that stuff. So I think you got to really make sure and educate people on what could happen if they wait. And that's bulletproofing.
Got it.
The shift book is number 5. Obviously bulletproofing is part of the shift book, but that should be in your hands every day. You should be reading a snippet of that. You should be talking about that with people. We're running that whole play again.
Right.
Number 6, have some sort of daily routine for training. It'd be real easy to fall into the island game right now, but if you've got a daily call like this, or something where people are pouring into you and you can engage with other people, that's really important right now. Stimulus package.
Yeah.
We were on a call with our CPA for an hour this morning. I've got live streams with financial planners, attorneys. There's a lot of options right now for people. The PPP, which is inside of the CARES Act, is something that I'm looking at really hard, which would allow you to basically borrow 2.5 times what your payroll is if you have employees. And it looks at this point about 75% of that will be forgivable.
Right.
So there's really some awesome stuff out there. There's going to be a lot of competition around it, and the race is about to start. So all those programs are coming out on Friday, from what I learned today. So we got to get in the queue with some of our bankers. Now's the time where we flex our relationship with all of our bankers in the world.
Yeah.
And get them on our side. And then number 8 is really just a complete spending freeze. In the month of April, we're cutting 5% a week. And by the way, this is down from last year where we were spending, our budget for expenses was like $100,000 a month this time last year.
Yeah, we talked about that in our virtual happy hour a couple of nights ago, that you cut some serious expenses, right?
And what is it now?
It's 60.
All right.
I've cut a lot this week just through command. Like, command's going to save us so much.
Right.
I think I've cut $1,000 a month as of this week.
So the team and the market center are cutting 20% of their expenses in the next 30 days. And we're encouraging all of our agents to do that too.
Awesome. So Andy and Lesley, it's the reason you guys are leaders, right? You have a plan, right? You got an 8-point plan. And I know you guys put a lot of thought in this. We talk a lot about supporting our businesses right now and supporting our local businesses. You guys said maximize opportunities for your charities, right? What was your mindset to this, again, pre-pandemic, and then what's your mindset on that now?
So we've always supported one charity in particular that's near and dear to our hearts in Atlanta that basically helps prevent adolescent homelessness. We have one of the highest adolescent homelessness in the whole country, one of the highest populations in the country. And it's basically because we have so many kids that age out of foster care. So what we do at every single event, we sponsor the charity in some way. So our Easter egg hunt was supposed to be this past weekend, and we had everyone bringing in like hotel size soaps, toiletries, and we were going to put together hygiene kits for the charity. And
was that the bags, Lesley? Was that the bags that you putting together? Okay.
Oh, actually, that was something different. That's actually just fun for our database. I'll share about that.
We'll get that.
Yeah, so Veda and I'm a little girl who's 10. We said, you know what? They need these hygiene kits. Like no one's giving to them right now. So we need to make a commitment and still do this. So we went out and bought all the supplies and we put together hygiene kits and delivered them yesterday to that charity. And then one thing that we're really struggling with right now is we always have a Kentucky Derby party and we raise $2,000 in 2 hours for that charity.
Yeah.
And so how can we basically come up with that cash that they're so accustomed to getting from us? So we're just trying to think outside the box and still support these charities in a big way.
So Leslie, Andy, I know that you guys are very systems people, oriented people, and you guys have a system in place for lots of things, but you guys have also great ideas on top of that, right? So, Leslie, I saw you last night putting bags together with Veda, right? Putting some stuff together. So would you mind sharing some ideas with our virtual audience here of what are some of the things that you guys are doing as far as ideas of staying in front of people?
Yeah. So the day that I figured out that we were going to have to cancel 2 events, our Derby party and our Easter egg hunt, I was on the phone immediately with our director of marketing. And I said, we have got to do something different to stay in front of our database. Like we've got to bring fun and joy into their lives. And how can we do that? Because belly to belly, face to face time has always been so important to us. So we said, okay, how can we involve them? And then the first thing that we did is we said we were
2,000 Easter eggs too.
Yeah, I know I was going to get there. So the first thing we said is we need to do a virtual happy hour with our database. We sent a postcard. We're doing a virtual happy hour. We're going to calm their fears about the Atlanta real estate market, answer any questions they have, and just have fun. So we're going to go Facebook Live in a couple of weeks for that. We also said their children are at home. So people are not accustomed to having their children all the time. So what can we do? What can we bring? So we added a kids corner to our newsletter. And this month we're going to do a vision board class, and my 10-year-old is going to lead it tomorrow at 4:00 on our Facebook channel. And she put a PowerPoint presentation together, and she's just going to show them how vision boards, what she's done over the past 5 years and how important they've been to her. Next month, we're going to do a scavenger hunt for their neighborhood. And then as Andy and you alluded to, Joe, we had 3,000 Easter eggs that were already stuffed for our Easter egg hunt. And we said, what are we going to do? The candy's not going to last till next year. And so we have decided that we are going to deliver Easter eggs to every VIP in our database that has young children. And it's 140 something families that will receive Easter eggs on their front door pre-stuffed for them over the next week. So that's what I've been doing the past few days.
That's a phenomenal idea, right? And thank you for sharing that, and thank you for giving your insight on that. So Ashley Carter was asking, you guys are at a stay-in-home, right? Like, how are you guys how is Atlanta dealing with the real estate business? In Chicago, we show our listings sometimes, right? Some people show our listings. So how are you guys dealing with what's going on? I mean, you're pending, how many did you say, 34 in the month of March?
34.
34. So, I mean, how are you guys reacting to what's going on out there? How are you conducting business?
Yeah, so we're shelter in place. Fortunately, at the moment, real estate is essential. And so we're still finding solutions, going virtual. People are still showing properties. There was a stretch there.
We've had over 250 showings in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
On just our listings.
Yeah, it's actually been a boom for showings. That makes absolutely no sense. But
are you guys shelter in place and essential?
Yeah, we are.
So we put sanitation kits in each house by the front door with like shoe covers and gloves and hand sanitizer to kind of calm the sellers' fears. But we haven't had any sellers that have been really nervous about it.
Yeah, I've been more nervous probably than our agents have been nervous about it. On the market center side, we did have one case of COVID that we had immediately had to shut everything down, facilitated kind of the early shutdown of everything before it was really mandatory.
So, in the beginning, Lesley, you talked about the market a little bit, right? Andy, sorry to interrupt you there, but you guys are pros, right? You've been doing this a long time. You're doing it at a high level. So Kevin Hinton from our market center asked, guys, prices had already started going down in Chicago prior, as well as increased inventory and market time. How would you change your strategy if that was the market in Atlanta?
It's a great question.
If it was already going down,
that's what their market's experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, this is all about pricing. This is about having fierce conversations around price for sellers. But I mean, it's really the shift book, right? It's find the motivated, get real, get right, remargin your business, you know, find the motivated, catch people in your web. You know, it is, there's really no better answer than say shift. What's in shift?
Right.
Well, and we know that shifts happen slowly and then suddenly. So if you guys were already seeing a slow shift, like I think the conversations about pricing have to get just really real, because you don't know where we're going to be in 60 days and how that's going to impact if you are already on a decline.
Yeah, right. In Atlanta, the shift started happening like late 2007, and the bottom was 2010. So if you had asked the people that sold in 2010 if they would rather have sold in 2007 or 2008, they would have laughed, right? I mean, it was a massive drop. Now, I don't think we're going to see anything to that extent, even if your market is shifting a little bit, or you're noticing signs of it. You're seeing an impact on the amount of inventory in all markets right now. Right. So if you were seeing signs of a shift, you could actually see this sustain or plateau and flatten your market out, which would be a good thing. Now, it'd be interesting to see what happens, you know, 90, 180 days after that, right? If it continues that slow dip, but it actually could be a good thing, stopping people from putting houses on the market. Not everybody will stop putting them on the market, though.
But that could help your sellers that, you know, had more competition a couple months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
You got it. I forget. You guys have an ISA on your team?
We did.
Yeah.
She resigned 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So the timing there was not I guess it was fabulous and it wasn't fabulous all at the same time.
When you say it wasn't fabulous, Bob Berger asks, are you still would you still be cold calling right now?
Absolutely. Our agents are still cold calling.
FSBOs.
Expireds and FSBOs for sure. Our agents are still calling. We have so many old internet leads just sitting, and they're going through those and calling, and they're finding more people are answering right now.
Right.
So there's a couple questions that I would ask. I mean, you're essentially trying to find the win, the WHEN, for everybody in your database, right? That would be the question that you want to ask. So, straight up questions that I would ask people right now would be, hey, what does your dream home look like? And when do you plan to be settled in that home? Or when's the last time you considered selling? And then the follow-up is, well, what changed? Why did you decide not to go through with that? And just really kind of dig into the when and the whys for everybody in your database, and then put the notes in and flag it right for additional action later on once they tell you when.
Got it. So you guys, I know you mastered what we call the 36 touch program, right? From the 33 touch from the MREA book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And just to clarify, Stephen, I did get you guys ISA. Sorry, we sometimes use acronyms in our world, is internal sales agent. But how is let's talk about that. Talk about your system quickly of your 36 touch, some ideas around it, and how and if you've pivoted there.
Great question. So we're one mailer a month.
Okay.
And we are not pivoting there. Andy would love for us not to send a mailer in May, and we're going to send one anyway. You guys, sorry, our dogs are crazy, and I don't know if you can hear them or not, but this is not working. So we're still sending mailers, because what we know is that every other agent is going to stop, and we're not. Like, we have got to be out in front of them. We've got to be pouring into people, adding value into their life, because as soon as this is over, they're going to remember who reached out to them and stayed in touch with them and added value. So we are going to still send our mailers. So our mailers, 12 a year. One, if you break it down into a quarter, one of those a quarter is about the real estate market. So what's going on in my local market, so I can be the economist of choice for them. So I'm going to share what I like to call party chatter.
Right.
And it's typically like 3 to 5 statistics that I have in my head from every month about the market that I think people would find interesting. So how can I share that on a postcard? The second one is going to be an event invitation, which we're having to pivot there.
Yeah.
And then the third is actually an item of value. So actually sending them something fun.
Okay.
So, and that you want to condition people to open your mail.
Yep.
And by sending them an item of value, you're actually doing that. So we've sent anything from Kool-Aid packets to fireworks glasses to phone pockets
Big red gum
to eyeglass wipes, right?
Right.
Something that outlasts that piece of mail, and just thinking outside the box and being fun.
I know you guys do a lot of events, right? You have your big, Kentucky Derby party, which is obviously is canceled this year. How are you going to pivot your events? I know you've thought about this. So what's the events going to look like?
Yeah, so though the Easter egg delivery will actually replace the Easter egg hunt event.
Okay.
The Kentucky Derby party, I'm not really sure. We're trying to add social media like this Zoom happy hour with Andy and I for our database. And then
Kentucky Derby is rescheduled to October.
September 5th.
September.
Yeah,
I mean,
later.
that could be kind of cool too. I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to completely cancel it, but maybe just delay it.
Sure. But as far as, have you guys had any conversations within your organization as far as doing more virtual, events?
Yes. And I think tomorrow, Veda's vision board event, right? I mean, that's an event basically. And then our call with our database this month in a couple weeks.
Lesley,
So I don't know.
I cut you off. Finish your 36 touch though. So you got the 12, you got the 12
You
mail.
got the 12 mailers, and then you got 12 email newsletters.
Okay. So there's 24 there.
So it's 24, and those are low cost. We make those kind of fun. And then we have 4 events, and events each have a phone call around the event. So we're touching our database via phone call around those events. And then they also have an email invitation and then the printed invitation. So that's what I love about events. Like that gives you 12 touches just for
right there.
4 events.
Yeah. So a lot of your touch campaign is around the events.
Right.
Absolutely.
Got it.
So that's why I panicked when I was like, oh my gosh, 2 events are gone, right?
Yeah.
Just gone.
You got to be creative. One of the things that this virus has done is it's blown up the box. We talk about thinking outside of the box. There is no box now. So, really just thinking about what's a new normal look like, this will probably wreak havoc on the way that we touch people. And we don't have all the answers on that. We're like you guys, we're going to rip off and duplicate the best possible ideas. But yeah, we're going to have to revamp a lot of things.
Right.
And be fluid, and when you're in a high growth mode or you're in a crisis mode, one thing is for certain, you better be fluid.
That's right. I
keep saying we're going to have a huge coming out of quarantine party when this is all over for our database. And I really think we should. It's going to be summer and having some sort of band party and an outdoor setting. I mean, just to get people there. People are going to want social interaction.
What's the Peters Company? What is their perception? What is on the other side of this? There's a lot of talk about pent up demand.
Yeah.
In the Chicagoland market. Do you believe that that's going to happen?
Yeah.
I do. And especially because the time of year this hit us, we watch our leads every single day, and we are typically running about 200 leads a month, and we're down 50 plus leads for the month of March.
25%.
I mean, that's 25%. And all those people, I feel like, are just sitting on the sidelines and waiting till this is over. And when it's over, those people, I mean, and think about it, people are really finding out whether they like their house or not.
Right. They're spending a lot of time in their house right now.
And they're figuring out if they like their family.
Andy.
Yeah, right. That too. That too. What advice do you have for, we have 70 plus people that have attended this call. What advice do you guys have for the people that are listening, and tuned in to hear rock stars like you guys, how to conduct their business and what their mindset should be?
I got 3 things.
Okay, go.
Focus on the plan. You heard my 8-point plan. Make your plan, right? Write it down, put it on a sticky on your mirror, look at it, write it every day, right? This is what we're doing. This is the solution, right? The second thing is increase communication. So what used to take whatever, percentage of your day, double it. The third thing is share wins. Make sure that you surround yourself with positivity. We're on Zoom calls like this all day. People pouring into us pouring into other people. Not literally 8-9 hours in a day, every day of the week. Well, that 8 or 9 hours of positivity can be wrecked in like 30 minutes of watching the news, right? Mm-hmm. So be real picky and choosy. Gary says you can't control what comes out of your mouth until you control what goes into your head. So be very, very careful about that. Surround yourself with positivity.
Hey, Andy, really quickly, Lesley, I'm going to pivot a question for you because it's going to be more.
Okay.
Andy, did you see that Stephen Natow informed me and Tommy and Josh that Warren Buffett quoted Gary Keller the other day?
What?
Yeah, we'll send it over. We'll send it over.
I would love it.
Lesley, there's a lot of moms on this call who run businesses. Okay. You run a high business. How do you keep your family life, sane right now? And how, what are you doing to help all the mothers out there?
I love that question. I'm so passionate about lady leaders. So to all of you that are holding down the fort at work and home right now, it is not easy. And I think the biggest thing is you have to give yourself grace. We as moms, and I especially think working moms, carry so much more guilt than stay-at-home moms. And it's because we feel like we have to be there for everything. And so a lot of times we give our kids everything. We never tell them no, right? We let them be highly dependent on us because we feel so guilty about being at work. And I think we've got to stop that, right? We've got to raise independent kids. And so, you know what? My kids make their lunch every single day during this. Like, I do not come to the kitchen and make lunch. And sure, they're 10 and 13, yet they were making their lunch at 5 and 8. Like, we've just developed like really independent kids. So if anything right now, if you're working from home, don't feel guilty about doing work at home. Like, this is the opportunity to like get your kids to be independent people, because that's going to serve them really well in life.
Yeah, my heart goes out to those with like the little bitty kids.
Oh,
right? That's tough, right?
That's tough. And for you guys, it's just going to be counterbalance, and they can't be independent, and you can't be good at everything. So, I mean, if you can time block your day, if you have little children at home, and just get 2 or 3 hours of really solid uninterrupted time, that's awesome. But for us with older kids, like 10 and 13 years old, I'm sorry, guys, you're on your own too during the day, right? We're running a business here that provides you an amazing life. So we've got to all work together.
It's great advice, Lesley. Thanks for sharing that. I know you guys have another phone call at 1:00, so we appreciate you. Can I ask? I know you call. I know our community is a sharing community, and I know you guys lead that. For the people out there that don't know you personally or know you and aren't sure, can they reach out to you?
Of course.
Absolutely. You can find us on Facebook. If we also have like a marketing page on Facebook. It's called Peters Co 36 Touch Mastermind Group, where we're sharing all of our ideas. And we also send an email newsletter every single month about our 36 Touch, just to help you with what we're doing. And you can find that by visiting thepeterscompany.com/connect. And we can sign you up to help you out.
Or just message us on Facebook. We'd be happy to send you the link. Or actually, we could post the link on here.
Here we go.
Make that easy.
You're just going to post it right here. There you go.
So I've got Dick Dillingham joining me at 1:00 for a call like this for our market centers.
Awesome.
You guys, have y'all had Dick Dillingham come to your
We love
area?
Dillingham, and he's been here, but we got to bring him back again soon. I'm gonna ask him to get on this Zoom call next week.
Yeah.
Just make us all laugh, right? Because he's one of the
amazing.
most positive people out there too. So it's good. You guys, we love you. We appreciate your time. Thank you for pouring into us. We know we respect you guys. We know that, you know, we're all better because we know you. And all the people that don't know Andy and Lesley Peters, make sure that you get to know them very quickly because they are awesome people. So guys, we're in tomorrow at 12 o'clock. I promise. I hope I won't have technical difficulties. And Danielle Dow is going to be dropping some knowledge on us tomorrow. So hopefully we'll see you guys all there. All right. Andy,
Awesome.
Lesley.
Thank you, Joe.
We'll do a
Appreciate
See
you
you
virtual
over
guys.
Chicago, peeps.
That's right.
Chicago. We'll do our virtual drink here sometime this week.
Just email me. Just text me. All
Bye, guys.
See y'all.
Yes, we'll see you. All right, top 20. We're gonna sit around, yeah.